Chapter 31 Love Brain Willow 2 Dragon, Senior Hunter Yu Xiaogang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Once you get an idea, jump on it. Knowing Yu Xiaogang was a wimp, Chu Zhao had someone tell Lu Erlong about Shrek Academy. Lu Erlong was a woman of action. The message emphasized that the dean of Shrek Academy was named Flanders, and one of the teachers was Yu Xiaogang. Now, all that was left to do was wait for the fun to begin. If these plot points didn't correct themselves and she could play around with them, Chu Zhao would have much more room to maneuver and change the world to her liking. Since the royal fighting team, the one Dugu was on, was clearly gunning for Chu Zhao's cloud team, they had to get to Soto City first. Meanwhile, Tang San and the others were still running around with stones strapped to their backs. As soon as they met at the Soto Fighting Spirit Arena, Dugu said in a haughty tone, "I'm challenging you. I'm going to knock you off your high horse." That she knew exactly how to get under their skin. Originally, Chu Zhao and her team weren't worried about a rematch, but after hearing Dugu words, they had no choice but to accept. "Okay. We're always happy to oblige." Xiao Qinyu chimed in, smiling at Chu Zhao, letting her know she didn't need to waste her breath on these people and get dragged down. "Just don't go crying to your parents when you lose. You're not toddlers anymore, no need to run home to mommy." Dark Cloud jumped into the fray, adding fuel to the fire. An infuriated Dugu pointed her finger at Dark Cloud and spat out some harsh words. "You! What are you even saying? Just you wait, I'll make you suffer in the arena." Dugu wasn't used to being humiliated, and she couldn't believe these commoner soul masters were being so disrespectful. This wasn't the first time she'd been treated this way, which made her even angrier. Okay. I'm waiting for you to show me how it's done. I love a good show." Dark Cloud, a master of arguing, knew how to use sarcasm to get under people's skin. Dugu had such a short fuse that she nearly started a fight right there. Yu Tianheng stopped her. "Yanzi, don't get worked up. We'll have our rematch soon enough." That was, if they even got the chance to meet. Even though there were several Soul Master teams in the Soto Great Soul Fighting Arena, the matches were randomized, so they couldn't rely on luck to face off. By the time the two teams actually met, several days had gone by. It was also on that day that the Blue Tyrant team from Tiando arrived in Soto City. However, Lu Erlong ditched her students in Soto City and left town to find Shrek Academy. The bored students of Blue Tyrant entered the Soto Fighting Arena, just in time to see the match between the Royal Fighting Team and the Cloud Team. What rotten luck. I wanted to see that showdown up close. Chu Zhao was a bit disappointed, because she'd set up Yu Xiaogang and Lu Erlong's reunion early, and she'd been looking forward to it. She couldn't leave now, however, and she was worried about letting Wang Sheng and the others face the Emperor Fighting Team alone. Even though she knew the Royal Team was going to lose, she still felt uneasy. Meanwhile, back at Shrek Academy outside Soto City, the show that Chu Zhao had been anticipating was about to begin. Lu Erlong simply told her students to wait for her in Soto City, and she headed straight for Shrek Academy without even stopping to rest. As luck would have it, when she hurried to the village where Shrek Academy was located, Yu Xiaogang was setting up a salt water stand at the entrance, planning to replenish Tang San and the others' energy. "Xiaogang, you've sunk so low that you're selling salt water, and you still won't come to me?" Lu Erlong looked at Yu Xiaogang with tears in her eyes, her voice trembling slightly. Yu Xiaogang, not strong enough and hadn't noticed Lu Erlong approaching. Caught off guard and hearing the familiar voice, he didn't react right away. When he looked up and saw Lu Erlong, his first instinct was to turn and run, but he was no match for Lu Erlong's speed, and she grabbed him tightly, preventing him from moving. "Xiaogang, I've missed you so much. Why won't you come see me? You know I don't care about any of that stuff." "But I do, Erlong. I can't hurt you." Yu Xiaogang didn't struggle. He missed this embrace too, but he explained in a pained tone. "No, you're hurting me by running away from reality and hiding from me." Over a decade of longing had nearly driven Lu Erlong crazy. Yu Xiaogang left when their love was at its strongest. This extended separation had only intensified their feelings, turning them into an obsession. "You finally recognized your uncle. You're now a member of the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex sect. You have a bright future. If you get involved with me, an outcast who was kicked out of the sect, your uncle and the sect master will be furious. What if I hurt you again? That Yu Xiaogang started to say something but stopped himself, his heart filled with love and concern for Lu Erlong, but the love-struck Lu Erlong was so moved that she immediately began to explain. You won't implicate me, because I didn't go back to the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus clan. I refuse to stay in a place that lacks humanity and doesn't have you. You didn't go back to the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus clan. Really? That Yu Xiaojiang's voice was full of surprise, but the next second, it suddenly changed, and he returned to his self-pitying state. I'm sorry, Erlong. I've caused you so much trouble. If it weren't for me, you would have stayed in the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex sect and would have been the focus of their training. Your future achievements would have been magnificent. This isn't your fault. I did it willingly because I love you. That's why I despise the place that abandoned you. No, it's not your fault, it's my fault. Chu Zhao probably hadn't expected them to resolve things so quickly, and they kept hugging each other tightly during their conversation. This scene stunned Tang San and the others who had rushed back with great effort. The 8 of them were breathing heavily, staring at the 2 people embracing, as if they couldn't believe their eyes. Yang was taken aback when he saw the beautiful woman who had suddenly appeared and was hugging Yu Xiaogang so closely. What the heck was happening? Who was this woman? Weren't Yu Xiaojiang's lovers Lu Erlong and Bibi Dong? During this time, one should be in Tiando City and the other in Wuhuan City. Having learned his lesson, Yang was able to control his emotions, so he didn't immediately rush forward to separate the women who had touched Yu Xiaojiang. Instead, he stared at the 2 of them without blinking. The 8 people's gazes were so intense that Lu Erlong and Yu Xiaojiang couldn't ignore them. After hugging for a while, they separated. Xiao San, let me introduce you to this. This is my in Flanders good friend, Lu Erlong. What? Chapter 32, Claiming Sovereignty, Plot Changes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before Yu Xiaojiang could even finish introducing everyone, Lu Erlong and Yang both jumped in. Friends? Is that all we are? Is that how you introduce me? Lu Erlong asked, clearly hurt. She was gorgeous, and her wounded expression instantly had all the guys from Shrek Academy totally captivated. Yang, on the other hand, was stunned. He never expected Lu Erlong to find Shrek Academy so quickly. This was way off script. He started to wonder if his memory was failing him. How else could so many things be happening that he didn't remember? Yang would rather believe his own memory was faulty than think there was another time traveler messing with the timeline and that he wasn't the only chosen one. Lu Erlong got angrier when Yu Xiaojiang just stayed silent and referred to them as friends. She was about to blow a fuse when she remembered the advice from that Moonlight Trading Company Catwoman who'd sold her the intel. You 2 are totally head over heels for each other, practically at the wedding planning stage. But your guy is a bit of a scaredy cat, so you gotta take charge. If you need to, stake your claim. Once your friends and family know you're practically married, he won't be able to wiggle out of it, because your loved ones will be your best wingmen. So, before Yu Xiaojiang could react, Lu Erlong blurted out, using the Catwoman's tactics, I'm Yu Xiaojiang's wife, but he bailed on our wedding night. I've been searching for him for over a decade, and now he's acting like he doesn't even know me. Lu Erlong would never have said anything like that on her own, but after the Catwoman's advice, she realized it was the perfect strategy for her. Tang San and the others were completely shocked. Wait, what? Seriously? Master, you're gorgeous. Why would he run from the altar? That's... Lu Erlong, you're so devoted. I'm jealous. I wish I could find a woman like you. Xiao Wu, fatty, knock it off. Tang San cut them off and turned to Yu Xiaojiang and the smug Lu Erlong. Teacher, is what she said true? Is she really your wife? Well. Yu Xiaojiang was at a loss for words. What Lu Erlong said was technically true, but not really. He was embarrassed and didn't want to explain the real reason. Seeing his discomfort, Lu Erlong decided not to push him. She tossed the ball to Flanders, who was eavesdropping nearby. After all, he'd been there back then. Flanders, quit lurking. Tell them, is she telling the truth? Flanders, already caught in a whirlwind of emotions, felt even more conflicted. Under so much scrutiny, he finally caved. He just nodded. Yeah, it's true. The whole team erupted. They stared at Yu Xiaogang, then at Lu Erlong, like they were seeing them for the first time. Tang San even addressed Lu Erlong as master's wife. Lu Erlong was overjoyed and immediately started handing out gifts. When the Shrek students learned that Lu Erlong was a powerful soul saint, they were even more envious of Yu Xiaogang. They couldn't understand what she saw in him that made her chase him for over 10 years. Yu Xiaogang just smiled. Lu Erlong couldn't wait to explain. To her, Yu Xiaogang was amazing in countless ways. Xiaogang is handsome and super smart. He can always figure out things I can't. The 8 students looked at Yu Xiaogang, then at Oscar, the most handsome guy they knew, and decided to keep quiet. Oscar was undeniably better looking than Yu Xiaogang. Yu Xiaogang wasn't ugly, but he certainly wasn't anything special. He was just average. Maybe Erlong has different taste. Maybe Erlong likes this look. Maybe Master was a knockout when he was younger, but now. Everyone was desperately trying to come up with excuses for Lu Erlong's behavior. Yu Xiaogang, listening to Lu Erlong's praise, looked a bit happier. No one knew that Yu Xiaogang already knew who Lu Erlong was. The Yu Luomian who showed up on the wedding night was someone he'd hired. He never intended to marry Lu Erlong. Brothers and sisters shouldn't become husband and wife, period. Lu Erlong and Yu Xiaogang had met ahead of schedule, and Lu Erlong eagerly invited Flanders, Yu Xiaogang, and the others to her academy, telling Flanders she'd rename Blue Tyrant Academy to Shrek Academy. News of this soon reached Chu Zhao. Flanders and Yu Xiaogang are considering Lu Erlong's offer. The royal fighting team has left Soto City and is heading east. The Blue Tyrant team also joined the competition at the Soto City Fighting Spirit Arena and booked a private room for a long time. They don't seem to be leaving anytime soon. One piece of news after another piled up in front of Chu Zhao. It was undoubtedly Chu Zhao who messed up a major plot point. The Shrek team hadn't run into the royal fighting team, and Tang San wasn't being targeted by Dugu Bo because he neutralized Dugu Yan's poison. Instead, the two of them had become good friends. Huang Do and his group might not even exist, and Qin Ming wasn't going back to Shrek Academy anytime soon. Many plots had changed subtly. Shi Yang must be going through an existential crisis right now. Wait, hold on. The most important thing now is that the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire are now hers. Xiao Wu has no chance to get the Acacia Heartbreak Red, which can mask her spirit beast aura, so she won't be reckless enough to go to Tiendo City. The moment she steps into Tiendo, she will be captured and used as a soul ring. Maybe I should just give the Acacia Heartbroken Red to Xiao Wu. I can't even pick that stupid flower anyway, so it's useless to me. Chu Zhao hesitated. There was a time traveler there, and she feared it would be hard to explain and also that her good intentions might lead to bad results, but she hesitated for only a moment before deciding to give the Acacia Heartbroken Red to Xiao Wu. This spiritual item didn't choose her as its master, which meant it had another owner, and she couldn't force it to stay. Chapter 33 Rejecting Yu Xiaogang, the one who dares not draw a big cake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before leaving Soto City, Chu Zhao visited Shrek Academy one last time. He wanted to treat Tang San and Xiao Wu to a farewell meal. Yu Xiaogang hesitated but eventually gave Tang San and Xiao Wu a half-day off. As Chu Zhao was about to leave, Yu Xiaogang stopped him. I heard from Tang San that you're now a soul master. There was shock in his voice. Yu Xiaogang never imagined Chu Zhao could reach the soul master level at 12, even faster than Tang San, his prized disciple. That's right. Chu Zhao nodded, noticing Flanders' odd expression, which amused him. Flanders knew Chu Zhao was actually a soul king but hadn't told anyone, not even Yu Xiaogang, to whom he would offer anything. Could you show me your martial spirit? That Yu Xiaogang had dedicated his life to studying martial spirits and didn't want to miss Chu Zhao's example. He assumed Chu Zhao would comply. If Chu Zhao hadn't wanted to test this so-called master's knowledge, he never would have bothered. Sure. Chu Zhao summoned his martial soul, revealing a dark, red patterned sickle. the red lines were unique, intertwined yet ultimately numbering only 5, the martial spirit emitted a chilling aura, instantly dispelling the summer heat. Seeing it, Yu Xiaogang regretted not discovering Chu Zhao's talent sooner. With such a rare martial spirit and potential, Chu Zhao could have been his disciple. He would have proven his theories, become a true master, and silenced his critics. They would see that, even with weak soul power, he could train top-tier experts. His name and his disciples would be forever remembered. While I don't know the name of your martial spirit, its quality is undeniable. It's one of the best weapon-type martial spirits. Yu Xiaogang praised Chu Zhao's martial soul sincerely. I now believe the crystal ball broke during your innate soul power test. With a martial spirit like that, your innate soul power couldn't have been just level 1. Yu Xiaojiang's praise felt empty to Chu Zhao. He didn't care for opinions, he wanted something practical: gold soul coins, land, resources. He'd gladly accept it all. My innate soul power doesn't matter. What matters is my dedication to training. Chu Zhao's confident reply stunned everyone. Yu Xiaogang, with his low innate soul power, suddenly felt ashamed. Ever since his family shunned him for his weakness, he seemed to have given up. He didn't try hard, believing his efforts were futile. He would only ever be a great soul master. Unable to bear the ridicule, he sought another path, studying martial spirit theory and achieving success through teaching talented students. Tang San was his chosen student, but Yu Xiaogang wanted a backup, so he invited Chu Zhao. Would you become my disciple like Tang San? No one understands martial spirits like I do. I can guide you to become the strongest, perhaps even a Douluo. Everyone was shocked by Yu Xiaojiang's sudden offer. One person was mentally breaking down. What? Master wants her as a student? He only has Tang San. Where did Tang San get a junior sister? This must be the butterfly effect from me, Xiaogang shouted internally, clenching his fists to stop himself from objecting. Tang San, however, was thrilled. He thought, Chu Zhao as my junior sister would be amazing. Lu Erlong was secretly jealous. People don't want their partners getting too close to others. Although still young, Chu Zhao's beauty was undeniable, making him hard to ignore, but everyone assumed Chu Zhao would accept Yu Xiaogang. I'm sorry, but I don't plan on taking any masters. No one knows me better than I do. I don't need a teacher, I am my own master. Chu Zhao firmly rejected Yu Xiaogang, surprising everyone. His words were blunt, even tactless. Little did they know, this was him being tactful. You're so timid you won't make promises. If you were a titled Douluo, you could say that you would definitely make me one. I don't need someone to teach me. I need a strong backer. If you were a titled Douluo, I might consider being your apprentice. You're too weak to be a master. If Tang San weren't useful, Chu Zhao wouldn't have hesitated to say these things and burn the bridge. Zhao, reconsider. The teacher is amazing. He knows everything about martial spirits. Tang San still wanted Chu Zhao as his junior sister, so he tried to persuade him. Chu Zhao simply shook his head, ending the conversation. Everyone knew he had no intention of becoming a disciple. Yu Xiaogang didn't push it, but before he could speak, someone else did. You're ungrateful. The master wants you as an apprentice, and you refuse. Many people would kill to be in your position. Yang pointed at Chu Zhao, cursing him. He was angrier than Yu Xiaogang, the one who was rejected. Chu Zhao's patience snapped. I've been too lenient with you, letting you provoke me again and again. Chu Zhao's cold voice was followed by the flash of a sharp sickle. Chapter 34. Love will only affect the speed of my sword drawing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Zhao didn't even bother using soul skills against someone like Yang. Death followed the Grim Reaper's scythe. He's a student here. You can't do that. Lu Erlong's angry voice rang out as she jumped to Yang's defense. Surprisingly, Lu Erlong would protect Yang like this, unleashing her soul saint aura, trying to push back Chu Zhao. He's your student. Chu Zhao didn't flinch, seemingly oblivious to Lu Erlong's power. Yes. I'm the vice president of Shrek Academy. All 8 of them are my students. Anyone who wants to lay a hand on them has to go through me. Lu Erlong stood tall, shielding Yang, towering over Chu Zhao. She looked down with a touch of contempt. He's so arrogant. I'd love to punch him in the face. There's a great reward for defeating a soul saint, but I wonder how much I'd get for killing one. Ever since she became bound to the Death God training system, Chu Zhao noticed her bloodlust getting stronger. Luckily, practicing the Changxing Gong helped calm it down, but right now, Chu Zhao was done holding back. The Grim Reaper's scythe was aimed at Lu Erlong when a figure suddenly stepped in front of Chu Zhao. Sensing danger, Tang San grabbed Xiao Wu and Chu Zhao, pulling them toward Soto City, calling back, "Teacher, Dean, it's getting late. We gotta head into town." "See ya." Soto City wasn't far, and they moved quickly. Soon, they found themselves at the Moonlight Hotel. Chu Zhao was eager to treat them, hoping to profit from Tang San. Tang San and Xiao Wu had yet to experience the food she cultivated, brimming with natural energy. She sold that stuff at a premium. A bowl of yuan rice cost 2 gold soul coins. Tang San always refused, being short on money with Xiao Wu to support, but soon, Tang San would land a big payday. Chu Zhao was sure no one could resist food infused with spiritual energy. "What's that smell?" "It's amazing." The moment the dishes arrived, Xiao Wu's eyes widened, sniffing appreciatively. "That has to be the Moonlight Hotel's Yuancher series. Normal food doesn't smell this good." Tang San, also drawn in by the aroma, was more cautious, quickly recognizing the source. He looked at Chu Zhao, surprised and questioning. The Yuancher series was expensive. This spread probably cost over 100 gold soul coins. Wasn't Chu Zhao broke? "I've been working at Moonlight for a while. I'm entitled to some employee meals." "Don't worry, it's on the house." Chu Zhao understood Tang San's unspoken question. She'd already prepared an explanation, revealing nothing. Moonlight Trading Company always provided this benefit to long-term employees. "That's awesome. Is Moonlight Trading Company hiring? Can I apply? How long do I have to work to get this?" Xiao Wu, taking a big bite of carrot, licked her lips, her eyes sparkling. She likely couldn't afford to buy it, but a job was a possibility. "I don't have any special skills. Do they need muscle around here? I could be a bodyguard." Xiao Wu was completely won over. She'd never tasted anything like it. At Chu Zhao's prompting, Tang San also tried the dishes. His eyes widened, and he silently mourned his wallet. He knew half his earnings would go towards this meal. The taste was one thing. He could feel the food changing him. Every bite felt like a health potion, equaling at least 10 days of training. Yuancher has a huge effect on soul power and mental strength the first time you eat it, but the effect diminishes over time. Eventually, it mostly just strengthens your body and extends your lifespan. Seeing them enjoy the meal, Chu Zhao explained, confident she'd hook Tang San. In the original story, Tang San's knowledge of hidden weapons made him a good earner, especially after founding the Tang sect. She planned to win him over with food and make him her personal ATM. That alone is amazing, and it extends your lifespan. It's definitely worth the price. Tang San said, his eyes shining. He'd complained about the price of Yuancher before, but now it seemed like a steal. The taste alone was worth it, and it could prolong life. Who wouldn't want a few more years? Once they were nearly finished, Chu Zhao steered the conversation to her main goal. "I stumbled across a really beautiful flower, but I couldn't pick it. I wanted to show it to you." She produced a jade box, revealing the Acacia Heartbreak Red, still attached to the stone. "What kind of flower is that?" "It's gorgeous. Acacia Heartbreak Red." Tang San immediately recognized it. Acacia Heartbreak Red? What a sad name. Chu Zhao sighed. There's a very sad love story behind it. Tang San recounted the legend of the Acacia Heartbreak Red. Chu Zhao watched Tang San and Xiao Wu tear up, while she remained indifferent, noting her own coldness. "So, you have to think of someone you truly love, and drip blood on the petals with sincerity? No wonder I couldn't pick it." Chu Zhao lamented her lack of romantic feelings. If only ambition could activate it, because Acacia Heartbreak Red was supposed to boost soul power by 10 levels. Zhao Zhao is still young. She doesn't understand love. You should keep it, and try again when you meet that special someone. Taking this flower will definitely boost your cultivation. Tang San, though tempted, couldn't take it for himself. No thanks. I'll never meet someone I love. Love would only slow me down. Chu Zhao shuddered at the thought. I'm out. Why don't you two try? Whoever picks it is its destined owner, and should have it. Chapter 35 Xiao Wu can #039, T pick the Acacia Heartbreak Red. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Chu Zhao said that, she'd already accepted that Xiao Wu could probably snag the Acacia Heartbreak Red, and she was totally cool with Xiao Wu having it. After all, Xiao Wu dipping out too early wouldn't do her any favors. You really want us to give it a shot? This thing can bring people back from the dead, and only the person who picks it can use it. Plus, it gives you a boost of about 10 soul power levels. Tang San was a little surprised that Chu Zhao was being so generous. Honestly, if he had the chance to get his hands on the Acacia Heartbreak Red, he wouldn't exactly be jumping to share. It's just that valuable. Seriously, the best stuff needs the right person. Otherwise, it just sits around gathering dust. Go ahead and try it now. Don't overthink it. I gotta get back to training. After Chu Zhao insisted she didn't want the Acacia Heartbreak Red, Tang San finally decided to give it a whirl. Apparently, if you think about the one you love and then flick a drop of blood onto the Acacia Heartbreak Red, you might be able to pick it. Too bad Tang San struck out. The flower wobbled when the blood hit it, but it stayed put on the rock. Guess I'm not destined for this flower. Tang San wiped the blood from his lip, looking bummed. Okay, take a breather and sip your tea. Xiao Wu, you're up. Me? Xiao Wu had been in a bit of a daze ever since she'd heard the story of the Acacia Heartbreak Red. Hearing her name suddenly snapped her back to reality. After Chu Zhao repeated herself, Xiao Wu looked at the Acacia Heartbreak Red hesitantly. Her face started to change. She thought about the person she loved, feeling happy, worried, and sad all at once. When her love peaked, she forced out a drop of blood and let it fall on the lovesick flower. The whole flower started shaking like crazy, like it was about to break loose from the rock, but just when Chu Zhao and Tang San thought it was a sure thing, the Acacia Heartbreak Red stabilized and kept growing steadily on the Wuju stone underneath, still firmly rooted. Tang San and Xiao Wu both felt disappointed. Almost had it. Chu Zhao was finally getting a taste of Shi Yang's frustration. She just had one thought. No way, absolutely no way. Of the three of them, Chu Zhao was the most upset about Xiao Wu's failure. Her reaction made Xiao Wu and Tang San's hearts jump. They couldn't help but overthink it. Right now, Chu Zhao was still brainstorming ways to keep Xiao Wu from going to Heaven-Do City. She'd be devastated if Xiao Wu's true identity was exposed and she was hunted down. Even worse, she'd be even more heartbroken to think a potential rival might get their hands on a 100,000-year soul ring and become a major obstacle to her plans. Looks like you're stuck with this Acacia Heartbreak Red. Maybe you found it for a reason, and you're just meant to have it. The timing just isn't right yet. Tang San still figured Chu Zhao was just young and hadn't figured things out yet. That's why she couldn't pick the flower. Chu Zhao didn't bother correcting him. She knew she'd never be able to pick it. Instead, she asked Lu Erlong, that woman who stopped me today, I think she was the dean of Lanba Academy in Heaven-Do City. How did she end up as the vice dean of your Shrek Academy? You mean Dean Lu, right? She's definitely the dean of Heaven-Do Lanba Academy, but she's also my teacher's wife. She and my teacher, Dean Flanders, used to be tight. Tang San's words revealed a lot. He never thought Lu Erlong would be so quick. They tied the knot fast, and now Tang San, Yu Xiaogang's disciple, had to call her master's wife. The master's wife thought our academy's conditions were too rough. She couldn't stand seeing us struggling, so she changed Blue Tyrant Academy to Shrek and let Dean Flanders stay on as dean. She and teacher Zhao Wuji are the vice deans. Got it. So you're all heading to Heaven-Do City. Lots of big shots there, including a bunch of titled Douluo and Soul Douluo. Chu Zhao mentioned titled Douluo and Soul Douluo, hoping Xiao Wu would get the hint. Chu Zhao breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Xiao Wu's face pale. To be honest, she'd done everything she could, giving her warnings and gifts. If Xiao Wu still insisted on going to Heaven-Do City, there was nothing more she could do. Wow, that many strong people. Seeing them in person would be amazing. People tend to look up to those who are strong. When Tang San heard about all the powerful people, he immediately wanted to see them. He was so excited that he didn't notice Xiao Wu's expression. He just kept talking about their plans with Chu Zhao. Master's wife wants us to get to Heaven-Do City ASAP. She says it'll give us a better training environment and resources. But the teacher disagrees. He thinks we need more real-world experience first. The teacher was going to send us to the Soto Great Fighting Arena to get some combat experience. But the master's wife suggested he take us all the way to Heaven-Do, so we can hit up a few more cities and face different opponents. The teacher's still thinking about it, but knowing him, he'll probably agree soon. Tang San was pumped. He was itching to get stronger. Hearing Tang San call Lu Erlong master's wife, Chu Zhao wondered what would happen if Bibi Dong found out. But she pushed the thought aside and said casually. Sounds like you guys are about to head out. Probably. Zhao Zhao, what about you? Going to find another college. Tang San was confused. He didn't understand why Chu Zhao didn't like the prestigious Shrek Academy and his teacher. He just figured Chu Zhao was too proud and couldn't handle any criticism. He hesitated, wanting to talk Chu Zhao out of making a rash decision. But before he could say anything, Chu Zhao cut him off. I already found a good high-level Soul Master Academy and got in. The vibe there is great. I'll be training there when the time comes. Okay. Tang San felt a little bummed. His mind was racing. He remembered what Chu Zhao had told him about Shi Yang and decided to ask Chu Zhao about it. Shi Yang might be up to something. He knows a lot of stuff we don't know. When we were in danger in the Star-Do Great Forest, he said. We're the Shrek 7 Devils, we're family, and we never abandon a mission. When Xiao Wu got snatched by the Titan Ape, he said confidently. The Titan Ape won't hurt Xiao Wu. She's safe. We just need to wait for her to come back here. And Xiao Wu really did come back safe and sound. She even absorbed her third soul ring and became a soul master. Chapter 36 Dugu Bo comes again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was just that he kept saying Shrek 7 Devils, but the teacher called us the Shrek 8 Devils. Tang San went on, explaining Shi Yang's odd behavior. At first, I didn't get why he kept saying, 7 Devils. Then, because I have really good hearing, I overheard him talking to Dai Mubai a few times. He said, I'm also from the Xinghua Empire. A lot of people back home know Zhu Zhuqing isn't happy with you. She's here to take you out. Then I heard him tell Ma Hongjun. I hear a lot of competitions are 7-person teams, and the academy wants to form the Shrek 7 Devils. There are 8 of you, which means someone has to go. The academies always plan to cut the weakest of the 8 devils. Fatty, you've gotta train hard and not let Zhu Zhuqing beat you out. And sometimes, he'd just casually mention in front of everyone how he had this dream where the Shrek 7 Devils team was him, me, Xiao Wu. He said that in his dream, the Shrek 7 Devils were super famous, everyone knew who they were. Tang San rattled all of this off at once, and Chu Zhao didn't interrupt him until he was done summarizing. He's always pushing this Shrek 7 Devils thing, emphasizing he's one of them, and that there's one too many of us. He's secretly trying to push Zhu Zhuqing out, like he wants her gone. No, I'm positive he just wants Zhu Zhuqing gone. Xiao Wu finally chimed in, complaining about Shi Yang's behavior. I don't know what Zhu Zhuqing did to tick him off, but he's really targeting her. Tang San was stumped too. Who knows? I wish I knew what he was thinking. Maybe he's just got a thing for the number 7, Chu Zhao said casually, guessing at the reason. Shi Yang seemed convinced the Shrek 7 Devils were a must-have, so he wanted to replace Zhu Zhuqing, who seemed the least essential to him, Plus, based on their ages, Shi Yang was only older than Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing, making him 7th in line. Considering he was a time traveler, there was a good chance he figured he was destined to replace Zhu Zhuqing as the 7th Shrek Devil. Chu Zhao asked, "What do you think of Zhu Zhuqing?" "Xiao Wu and I don't really know her. She's got a cold personality and doesn't talk to us much. But it doesn't seem like anyone else likes her much either. Ning Rongrong used to live with Zhu Zhuqing, but she asked to move in with Xiao Wu not too long ago. Dai Mubai doesn't treat Zhu Zhuqing well either. He's always bullying her on the sly. Not to mention everyone else." After Tang San finished, Chu Zhao was pretty sure Zhu Zhuqing wouldn't be sticking around Shrek Academy for much longer. Personally, she thought Zhu Zhuqing had potential. She was definitely a hard worker. She hated the Xinglua Empire, but she knew a lot of their secrets. If she could put those secrets to good use, she'd be a great asset. Shrek didn't want her, but she did. After Chu Zhao and the Cloud team stayed in the Soto City fighting arena for 2 months, they left to face new opponents in the next city, but on the day they left Soto City, Dugu showed up again, unexpectedly. Is Senior Dugu back for revenge for his granddaughter again? He's a little late this time. It's been over a month since that happened, Wang Xing muttered as he saw the person blocking the carriage's path. Even though he was quiet, Dugu was strong enough to hear him. "Kid, don't think so little of me. Do you think I only bully the weak?" Dugu's voice came from far away, but the next second he was right in front of the carriage, his tone firm. "The person inside has to be Dr. Chu from Cloud Academy. We don't know any Dr. Chu. These are all my classmates," Wang Xing said immediately, driving the car. As soon as he saw Dugu, he knew he was trouble. If the power gap wasn't so huge, he wouldn't have even acknowledged him. "I'll be the judge of that. I'll find out after I search," Dugu said, not believing Wang Xing. He immediately began forcefully searching the carriage, fully displaying the savagery of a titled Douluo. "Can you drop the "dr" part? Is there another miraculous doctor named Chu in the world?" Seeing that he couldn't avoid it, Chu Zhao had no choice but to speak up, lift the curtain, and get out of the carriage, forgetting to complain. Just because she looked young, people like to add young when calling her. But Chu Zhao, who'd lived for a total of 30 years in 2 lifetimes, really didn't like that word. "Dr. Chu, I heard you can fix my problem. Tell me, what is my problem?" Dugu readily changed his address, believing the information Chu Zhao had released through Moonlight Pavilion had brought him here, but he still wanted to test her. Yes, Chu Zhao had set it up for Dugu to come, but she hadn't expected him to come so quickly, and she wasn't prepared. Moonlight Pavilion should have explained it in detail. "There are a lot of people here. Are you sure you want me to repeat it?" Basically, Dugu's problem was a flaw in his poison skills. The toxins that had built up over the years had invaded his organs, making them diseased, and leaving him with a torturous illness that wouldn't kill him right away. Seeing that Dugu seemed to be planning to take him away, Chu Zhao told Wang Xing to get back in the carriage and use the domain of death to cover himself and Dugu. "You can talk now." A talent domain? As a titled Douluo, Dugu recognized the domain. It was because of that the shock in his voice stopped him, and he had to look Chu Zhao lie in the face. "No need to say more. Just tell me how much you know about my problems. This situation is caused by the defects of your martial soul and poison power. It's a hereditary issue. Anyone in your family who has awakened the Jade Phosphor Snake Emperor martial soul will have this problem. The higher the talent, the more serious the problem. Your son must have died from the backlash of snake venom. Your granddaughter will also follow in your son's footsteps, which is why you couldn't wait to find me after you learned I had a solution." Well said. Influenced by the aura of the domain of death, Dugu had to suppress his anger and ask calmly, "So, you can solve my granddaughter's problem?" Dugu only mentioned Dugu Yen because he felt he'd been suffering from snake venom for so long he was beyond saving. But his granddaughter was still young, so there should be hope. "Yes, I can solve not only your granddaughter's problem, but yours as well. But you should understand there's no such thing as a free lunch. And often, Things that are free are the most expensive. Chapter 37 1 Courtyard 2 Douluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Playing games with a powerhouse like him was pointless, so Chu Zhao cut to the chase. Her words didn't anger Dugu, he just chuckled. Exactly. Nothing's free in this world. If you didn't want something, I'd be worried. I'm not afraid of what you want, I'm afraid of you not wanting anything at all. So, spill it. What's the deal? That he was so blunt, Chu Zhao didn't hold back. Once I've cured you, I want you to come to Cloud Academy and be our protector for 10 years. What she really meant was that he would use his status as a titled Douluo to keep trouble away, and he wouldn't really have to do much. Chu Zhao only needed him for 10 years because she had big plans. That was the deadline she set for herself. By then, she wouldn't need Dugu to scare anyone off. Doesn't your Cloud Academy already have a titled Douluo? That money-grubbing weirdo who's always after gold. Dugu hadn't forgotten who tried to block him when he first looked into Yunduan Academy. Seeing that Dugu didn't immediately refuse, Chu Zhao knew she had a shot. One isn't enough. Senior Dugu, don't worry about your freedom. We won't tie you down. All you have to do is lend us your name, let the world know that Cloud Academy has your protection. Alright, you've got a deal. Dugu agreed just like that. Even though Chu Zhao said he'd just be a figurehead, Dugu knew he'd have to step in if Cloud Academy was ever in real danger. Otherwise, everyone would laugh at him, saying a titled Douluo couldn't even protect a school. The moment Dugu agreed, Chu Zhao knew the deal was sealed. She was completely confident in her ability to heal both him and his granddaughter. Otherwise, she wouldn't have spread the word to attract him. With Gold Douluo and Poison Douluo, her Cloud Academy now had 2 titled Douluos backing them up. Other sects might have 2 Douluos, but she had 2 Douluos in a single academy. It felt awesome. Afterward, Chu Zhao split from her teammates and headed to Tiando City with Dugu. Tiando City. I wanted to give you some rare herbs, but I couldn't find any that were suitable. So, I can only offer you this. Feeling like he was in her debt after Chu Zhao dealt with Dugu Yan's issues, Dugu pulled out a small blue pouch and handed it to Chu Zhao, explaining what it was in case she didn't know. This is the Rui Baibao Nong, a soul storage device that can hold living things. It can even keep herbs fresh. Chu Zhao knew what it was. She knew the original story and recognized the item. Besides, as soon as she touched it, the 2 systems started chiming in, telling her exactly what it was. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a top-grade soul guide Rui Baibao Nong, along with the weapon Feigong and its blueprint. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the best medicine storage device, the wishful treasure bag, and a reward of 10 spiritual plant seeds. She hadn't expected a small Rui treasure bag to bring such a huge reward. Life was full of surprises. Thank you, Senior Dugu. I really like this Rui Baobao bag. After thanking him, Chu Zhao immediately hung it around her waist, showing how thrilled she was. Your granddaughter's poisoning isn't severe, so it's relatively easy to fix. We just need to tweak her poison abilities. But you've been practicing for years. To completely cure you and let you live a normal life, we'll have to fight poison with poison. The process will be painful, but once it's done, you'll be immune to all poisons, and your poison skills will reach a whole new level. I'm old. How can I not bear even a little pain? Just go ahead and heal me. Dugu waved his hands, saying he wasn't afraid of pain, but Chu Zhao knew he'd be singing a different tune soon because the pain would be excruciating. This bag of herbs is for a medicinal bath. It'll help you fight poison with poison. Chu Zhao handed Dugu a large bag of medicinal herbs and then took out a small jade box. You need to soak in the medicinal bath for a full hour. After half an hour, you'll eat this herb and continue soaking. No matter what, you can't get out of the bath. As she spoke, she opened the box, revealing a small piece of emerald green vine-like herb with 9 golden flowers shaped like snake tongues. That looks familiar. I think I've seen something like it before, but it's also different. Dugu thought he was just imagining things and didn't dwell on it, but Chu Zhao knew he wasn't wrong. He had seen the predecessor of this golden flower snake king vine. He originally got it from the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, but when she first saw this medicinal plant, it only had 7 flowers, and it was still the snake king vine. After taking great care of it, the snake king vine bloomed 2 more flowers and became the snake emperor vine. This is called the golden flower snake king vine. Legend says it's the essence of a dead snake king, and it can help snake spirits be reborn. I only have one, so remember to soak for a full hour. I understand. I'll do exactly what you say. You're such a nag for someone so young. Dugu took the medicine from Chu Zhao and promised to follow her instructions to the letter. He was confident at first, but soon, suppressed cries of pain echoed from the room. He was obviously in agony but didn't dare to yell, fearing embarrassment. After enduring the pain and eating the golden flower snake king vine, he had to keep soaking for another half hour. After a full hour, Dugu finally felt lighter, knowing he'd made it through. After cleaning up, he felt reborn, like his body was completely unburdened. He activated his soul power and was stunned. He was still reeling when he found Chu Zhao practicing in the medicine garden. I'm already level 93. How is it that easy to break through? Dugu wondered if he'd misremembered his soul power level or if he was still dreaming. How else could he have such a crazy dream of breaking through 2 levels at once? It was too good to be true. Is it that hard to break through? Chu Zhao tilted her head and asked, acting surprised. She thought it was pretty simple. Hearing her words, Dugu knew it was real. He really had broken through 2 levels, from 91 to 93. Your internal issues are completely healed, and your poison skills are on a whole new level. It's normal to break through 2 levels. Plus, my guess is that your martial soul has also improved. Seeing Dugu was awake, Chu Zhao told him. Hearing Chu Zhao, Dugu released his martial soul. Tentatively, he had already had a pleasant dream, so it should be okay to have even more beautiful dreams. Chapter 38 2 Acting Schools. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although he had maxed out his green phosphorus snake king martial soul, everyone thought it couldn't evolve any further, but what if it could? Gotta try, right? That's when Dugu noticed something different. His green phosphorus snake king martial soul was usually covered in green scales, screaming poison. But now, golden lines snaked across its body, making it look way more mysterious and majestic. The green itself seemed richer, more vibrant, but the real kicker. A pair of golden, emerald-like horns, straight-up dragon horns, had sprouted from the snake's head. Dragon horns? Could the Jade Phosphorus Snake Emperor martial spirit actually evolve? Is it, the Jade Phosphorus Dragon Snake Emperor martial spirit now? Dugu was blown away. His martial soul had taken on dragon characteristics. No wonder he'd broken through 2 levels. Congrats, Senior Dugu. You've reached a whole new level of badass. Hearing Chu Zhao's congratulations, Dugu mentally bumped Chu Zhao up a few notches in the people I need to protect list, and redoubled his commitment to protecting Cloud Academy. Chu Zhao's trip to Tiando City wasn't just about detoxing Dugu and Dugu Yan. She was also here to hook up with her temporary ally, Tiando Prince Xue Qinghe. This young master of the Spirit Hall had a heavy mission, infiltrating Tiando disguised as a dude, but her ally seemed to be blowing her off. She'd been in Tiando City for 2 weeks, and they hadn't even bothered to meet up. Just as Chu Zhao was about to throw in the towel and head back to her base camp in Fasno province, Xue Qinghe finally showed up and took control of the situation. Took you long enough. I was about to ditch you. Seeing Xue Qinghe stroll in with someone in tow, Chu Zhao immediately slipped into character, pointed at the bag on the table, and whined, all sweetness and light. She turned her head away like she was sulking, sounding like a girl giving her boyfriend the business. My bad, baby. Work's been crazy, and I've been neglecting you. I'm sorry, okay? I promise it won't happen again. Xue Qinghe played along, his eyes full of affection, doing his best to smooth things over. Prince Xue Xing, trailing behind Xue Qinghe, had never seen Xue Qinghe act this way. He was floored. So, you finally show up, but you gotta bring an old dude with you. Chu Zhao was still playing the angry girlfriend, turning her attention to Xuexing. Chu, be nice. That's my uncle. Me? An old dude. Xuexing and Xuexing spoke almost at the same time, one all smooth and soothing, the other practically spitting with indignation. Oh. He's your uncle. My bad. He just looks, kinda ancient, and... Seeing Xuexing's face darken, Chu Zhao seemed to realize she'd stepped in it, and clapped a hand over her mouth. Her big, innocent eyes blinked at Xuexing and Xuexing, looking mortified. Chu, this is my uncle. You need to show him some respect, got it? Xuexing pretended to scold Chu Zhao, but he was secretly loving it. My Chu's just young and a little mouthy. Uncle, don't hold it against her. He'd said all he could say. What was Prince Xuexing supposed to do? He just snorted and glared at Chu Zhao, pointedly keeping any pleasantries to himself. So that's why you've been MIA. Turns out you've got a little something on the side. She's cute enough, but you're the crown prince, you need to remember your future crown princess can't be a nobody. Chu Zhao. Hold up, did she just hear that right? Talk about a curveball. She was about to set the record straight, but then Xuexing gave her a tiny shake of his head. She immediately clammed up. Just being with His Royal Highness is enough for me, Chu Zhao said, her voice all soft and sad, tears welling up in her eyes. She looked so head over heels for Xuexing that it was practically painful. Uncle, please. Just stop. Chu's the only one for me, and she's the only one who'll ever be my crown princess. Xuexing looked genuinely heartbroken. He pulled Chu Zhao into a hug, threw a glare at Prince Xuexing, and all but ordered him to leave. Uncle, please, just go. My Chu doesn't want you here. Seeing how much Xuexing cared for Chu Zhao, Prince Xuexing huffed, but left with a secret smile on his face. He'd never been a fan of Prince Xuexing and always thought there was something off about him. The crown princess position was a good way to buy loyalty, but Xuexing was hung up on some random woman with no apparent background and no soul power. He was essentially throwing away a valuable asset. How could he not be happy? Prince Xuexing left, feeling pretty pleased with himself, completely oblivious to the fact that as soon as he was out of sight, the two lovebirds pushed each other away like they'd been touching something gross. Why are you still hugging me? Chu Zhao patted her shoulder where Xuexing had hugged her, looking totally disgusted. Xuexing wasn't any happier. Spotting the Chu Zhao brand fake tears on his coat, he ripped it off. You're one to talk. You started crying and now your tears are all over my clothes. Hey! You're the one who winked at me as soon as you walked in, telling me to put on a show. Did I nail it or what? Chu Zhao wasn't about to take the blame, and shoved it right back at Xuexing. Whatever. Let's not point fingers and get down to business. Xuexing plopped down on the sofa, looking way more relaxed. I just want to know what took you so long to come see me. Are you having second thoughts about this alliance? If so, let's call it quits. Chu Zhao was still in character, sounding all sweet and demure. Xuexing groaned. He's gone, can you please cut the act? Show's over. You saw what was going on. Xuexing's been getting suspicious and keeping a close eye on me. I figured you were getting impatient and wanted out, so I had to let him tag along. But now that he saw all that, he probably thinks I'm just infatuated with some ordinary girl with no soul power. He's in a good mood, so he won't be breathing down my neck for a while. Xuexing figured a little bit of drama was worth the peace and quiet, even if that drama was a little, never mind. Xuexing felt a little queasy just thinking about it. Xuexing and Chu Zhao had only known each other for 3 or 4 years, but their personalities clicked, and they'd quickly become allies and friends, but that's it, because when two people are too much alike, it's like looking in a mirror. And most people don't fall in love with the person staring back at them, and might even actively dislike them. Chapter 39, Mutual Benefit, Alliance for Redemption. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The prince's life hasn't exactly been a picnic. For like, a hot second, I feel for you. Chu Zhao propped his chin, looking at Xue Qinghe, but in his head he was thinking, being an undercover agent? Now that's a real grind. I could feel sorry for her for 2 seconds. Then I guess I should thank you for your generosity. Xue Qinghe could only be herself and totally relax around Chu Zhao. We're down to the wire, less than 2 years to go. How's your team shaping up? As they stand right now, those 7 would crush any team of just soul masters. Make that a team of all soul sects and they'd still win 2 years from now. Hell, I could swap out one of my guys. Facing a team of all soul sect cultivation. We'd win hands down. 2 years from now, if it was me and any 6 other people, we'd wipe the floor with a team of all soul kings. Chu Zhao gave a ballpark estimate of his team's power, vague but just what Xue Qinghe wanted to hear. I'm dying to know where you're at now. What makes you so damn confident? But even though she was curious, Xue Qinghe wasn't about to pry. Instead, she got serious and asked Chu Zhao. I just want to know, if your Cloud Academy ran up against a team with 3 Soul Kings and 4 top-tier Soul Masters at the All-Continent High-Level Soul Master Elite Competition in 2 years, what are our odds of winning? Chu Zhao knew right away that she was talking about Spirit Hall's top team, and judging by Xue Qinghe's face, she wasn't too thrilled with Spirit Hall's golden children. 100%. Unless we get disqualified somehow, we've got this in the bag. Chu Zhao was still dead set on beating Spirit Hall and taking home the trophy at the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Elite Competition. Okay, if you can win the championship, I can pull some strings and give you the main city where your academy is located as a fiefdom. It'll be your territory. Xue Qinghe drove the point home. The only thing you have to do to get this fiefdom is beat Spirit Hall's top dogs and win the whole thing. That's it, no strings attached. With rewards that sweet, I'd be a fool not to win. The moment Chu Zhao heard about the reward, he was all in. The main city Xue Qinghe was talking about. That was the crown jewel of Fastno province. Huge, and exactly the kind of territory Chu Zhao had been after forever. Xue Qinghe didn't say why she was offering this, and Chu Zhao didn't ask. No point in getting nosy. Here's your cut for this month. I brought it on my way. I had it all converted into gold soul coins. Chu Zhao said, pulling out a storage soul guide and handing it to Xue Qinghe. Money makes the world go round, right? Chu Zhao used a slice of his profits to grease Xue Qinghe's wheels and get the Moonlight Company off the ground in Tiando. Saved him a ton of hassle and made him way more dough. Xue Qinghe, on the other hand, used the dividends Chu Zhao sent to recruit soldiers and win over the people, all in prep for her rebellion. She could have tapped the Spirit Hall's bankroll to get started, sure, but this proud young prince wanted to do things his own way. When she finally pulled it off, the Tiando Empire would be all hers, with nothing to do with Spirit Hall. I need you to do something for me. Xue Qinghe took the storage soul guide and, without even peeking inside, asked for a new favor. Hold up. Don't you owe me a favor? Shouldn't I get to call in my IOU? Why are you asking me first? Chu Zhao was confused, even a little stunned, but Xue Qinghe had already pulled out 7 crystal bottles and set them on the table. Each bottle was filled with a powder of a different color, a rainbow of poisons. Take a look at these and see if they can off Emperor Xue Yi without raising any alarms. If not, I need you to whip me up a new poison that can do the trick. Xue Qinghe pointed at the colorful bottles. The imperial physicians wouldn't know the difference. I'm mainly worried that Dugu could ID this stuff and come up with an antidote. That's the Pei clan's rainbow poison. Quite the looker. Chu Zhao recognized the colorful mix right away. He remembered from the original story that Xue Qinghe had tried to poison Emperor Xue Yi. Almost pulled it off, too, until Tang San messed everything up. This blend is pretty potent. If nothing goes sideways, it's more than enough to kill Emperor Xue Yi. But poison Douluo could spot this a mile away, and with your luck, you're practically begging for someone to screw up your plan. He pulled out a crystal bottle of his own. This one was filled with milky white pills. This is called Seventh Night. Colorless and tasteless. When you drop it in water, no one will ever know it's there. For the first 6 pills, nothing will happen. No changes to the body at all. But when he takes the 7th pill, the poison kicks in immediately, draining his life force in a heartbeat, and he's gone, and no signs of poisoning to be found. Looks like he just kicked the bucket out of nowhere. After Xueqing took the 7th night, Chu Zhao added. He only croaks if he takes the 7th pill on the 7th night. If he only takes the first 6 and skips the 7th, he's fine, but the poison will just lie dormant, so basically, you get 6 chances to chicken out. Never. I wouldn't even think about chickening out. Xueqing has stashed away both the 7th night and the rainbow poison, then said to Chu Zhao. I owe you 2 favors, then. Just name it. What do you want me to do for you? I'll save M for later. An IOU from Crown Prince Tiendo isn't worth much. But an IOU from Emperor Tiendo? Now that's gold. What Chu Zhao really wanted to say was that a favor from Spirit Hall would be worth a fortune, but she didn't want to blow Xueqing's cover and show that she knew her true identity. So she kept it zipped. You really think I'll pull this off, huh? Xueqing has said, sounding a little annoyed. If I screw it up, your IOU's worthless. Not at all. Chu Zhao wasn't worried. Even if Xueqing failed, there was still Qian Renxue. It wasn't until Chu Zhao left Xueqing's villa that she understood why Xueqing was so set on her winning against the Spirit Hall team. Spirit Hall has decided that if Hulaina and her crew win the All-Continent High-Level Spirit Master Elite competition, Pope Bibi Dong is going to anoint her as a saint and name her as her successor. When Chu Zhao heard that insider scoop, she just sat there for a second, processing the title of saint. Okay, whatever. All the Pope's groupies are saints, but the heir apparent? What about Bibi Dong and Qian Renxue? Does she honestly think her daughter doesn't exist? And those old fogies in the worship hall are actually okay with this? The number 1 successor to the Pope should be Qian Renxue, no question. Chu Zhao understood Xueqing's simmering rage perfectly. Chapter 40, The Fallen, the Evil Spirit Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I just don't get what the Spirit Hall is thinking. Qian Renshue's got level 20 innate spirit power, making her the most talented member of the Qian family ever. She's practically guaranteed to become a god, so they should be bending over backward to train her. Seriously, Chu Zhao couldn't wrap her head around why they'd send Qian Renxue on a dangerous undercover mission. If she had a treasure like that, she'd protect her with everything she had. No way would she risk her life as an undercover agent. Is Qian Renxue just some disposable pawn? Are they really throwing away a genius who's least likely to betray them to train someone less talented who might even flip on them? I'd never make such a bad deal. Chu Zhao tried to see it from their point of view, but she just couldn't understand the Spirit Hall's reasoning. If Qian Renxue was just average, then sending her undercover would make some sense. But with that insane talent, level 20 soul power and a 6-winged angel martial spirit, it was insane. She went undercover for the Spirit Hall's greater good, endured hardship, and sacrificed her best years. And they just forgot about her. They even gave her title as first in line for Pope to someone else. If that were me, I'd lose it. Chu Zhao actually felt a pang of sympathy for her. Well, there's not much I can do. But when I see Hulaina and the others, I'm going to stomp them into the ground. Completely crush their spirits. Consider it payback. Chu Zhao had been planning to do this during the competition, but she never thought she'd get the chance so soon. We found a lot of fallen activity in the Xingdou Great Forest area. From what we've gathered, the strongest one is around the Soul King level. Wu Yun, who was tracking the fallen, reported to Chu Zhao at the Cloud Academy. Besides the Spirit Hall, who else is responding? What's their plan? Chu Zhao asked casually, after quickly scanning the report. Only the Spirit Hall. They're sending 7 people, led by the Golden Generation, along with a titled Douluo and 2 soul Douluos for protection, to wipe out the fallen in the Star Do Great Forest. Looks like everyone else is pulling a not my problem routine. Chu Zhao scoffed. She'd initially figured the Spirit Hall was the only one acting against the evil soul masters because they were the only ones who knew about them, thanks to their infiltration at the grassroots level. That's why she secretly tipped off the 7 Treasures Glazed Tiles sect, the Blue Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex sect, and the Haotian sect whenever she found a trace of them, but those 3 sects acted like they never got the memo. Maybe they just felt the evil soul masters weren't a threat to them. The Spirit Hall, with their grassroots connections, would obviously take action when the evil soul masters threatened their followers' beliefs, but honestly, judging by what they actually did, the Spirit Hall deserved their followers' loyalty. Sending the Golden Generation with that kind of backup. The Spirit Hall really values them. Chu Zhao was jealous of the luxury escort. What required a titled Douluo showing up? She envied this combat power lineup. I heard Yu Guan is the titled Douluo guarding them. If I remember correctly, Dugu Bo and Yu Guan have beef. Chu Zhao has never been a good person. When she heard the name Hulaina, she wanted to vent her anger for her ally, plus, she figured Dugu Bo would love another friendly spar with Yu Guan, now that he was powered up. As for the other 2 soul Douluos, the Star Do Great Forest was so dangerous that you could never have too many. Of course, Chu Zhao didn't want to kill Hulaina, just teach her a lesson. She knew when to stop, and the best way to make sure she didn't go too far. Getting right in the middle of things. So, Chu Zhao headed to the Star Do Forest. She didn't know why these fallen, evil soul masters in her eyes, were so fond of the Star Do Great Forest. She still remembered killing her first evil soul master 6 years ago. The Death God Cultivation System was basically an instruction manual for evil soul masters. Emergency mission, a disgusting, blood-sucking force has appeared nearby. It's truly repulsive and infuriating. Eliminate this force ASAP to freshen the air. Mission completion reward, all spirit rings increased by 1,000 years. As soon as she heard that, Chu Zhao knew an evil soul master was close. She found a wounded great soul master lying under a tree, his wounds tainted with the unmistakable aura of an evil soul master. Then Chu Zhao understood why these evil soul masters like to hang out in the Star Do Great Forest. Hurry, after them. The great soul master was leaning against a tree, his chest ripped open. He was near death, but he still managed to point Chu Zhao in a direction. The Spirit Hall is ahead. I'll catch up with them later. Chu Zhao's heart always went out to injured people. She wanted to help this great soul master. He was around level 30. He'd come to the Star Do Great Forest to get his 3rd spirit ring. Instead, he'd run into an evil soul master and almost lost his life. Going to the Star Do Great Forest to hunt souls alone, Chu Zhao used her soul power, internal force from the Changxing Gong, to heal the great soul master while distracting him with questions. I wasn't alone. 2 friends were killed by the fallen. They ripped their hearts out. The great spirit master's expression was filled with pain. If only I hadn't tried to break through, they wouldn't have died because of me. It's not your fault. It's the fallen's fault. One day, all of them will be gone. Chu Zhao withdrew her hand. Your injury is almost healed. Let's get you out of the forest. Evil soul masters used human flesh and blood to get stronger, and the flesh and blood of soul masters obviously worked better. Lots of civilians who came to the outskirts of the Star Do Great Forest to get spirit rings weren't very strong, making them easy targets. No, I'm not leaving. I want to stay with you. I want to avenge my friends. Chu Zhao groaned inwardly.